Biden or America? Roll tape.
We're not respected anywhere in the world. He's not respected. And our country's in very serious trouble. And I'll tell you what, if we're not careful, we're going to be right in the middle of World War III, and that will be a war like nobody's seen before because of the weaponry. The weaponry is a whole lot different than two army tanks going up against each other. This is a whole different world, and we don't have somebody that can properly represent us. There's no question about that.
Now, House Foreign Affairs Committee Chair, Congressman Michael McCaul, joins us now. You may have just heard that soundbite there from Mr. Trump. He says World War III is on its way. What's your response to that?
Well, you know, people ask me what keeps me up at night, and that's exactly that, World War III. We have two hot wars, one in the Middle East, one in Ukraine, and a basically hot zone in the Pacific. Any of these three scenarios could erupt into World War III. And when you have a president that projects weakness, this is what you get. It invites aggression and conflict and war. When you have a president that projects strength, like Reagan talked about, like Trump did, you have peace. And so I agree with the president. I think after the debate performance of the other night was very dangerous in my view, because it sends a signal of weakness and incompetence to our foreign adversaries like Communist China, Russia, the Ayatollah in Iran, and Kim Jong-un in North Korea.
World leaders are not likely to come out publicly and say, we're very worried about Biden's cognitive health. But what are they saying in private? Can you pick up any feelers as to how they really feel?
We have a NATO summit taking place right now here in Washington, and it is the talk of the town is what is going on with your president. Is he mentally fit for office? Does he have the cognitive skills to perform? Remember, the president can order a first strike, a nuclear first strike. And if he doesn't have the cognitive abilities, that's very dangerous as well. But it is of concern to our NATO allies and the people I'm talking to from NATO here in Washington.
Got it. Congressman, we spoke with House Oversight Chair James Comer about invoking the 25th Amendment to remove the president from office. Here's what he had to say. Roll it, please.
Well, I think that's going to have to be determined by his cabinet more so than Congress, but I certainly agree with Chip Roy. I usually do. He's a very sharp guy, and I think everyone in America realizes that this president isn't up for the job. He sure isn't up for an additional 4 years.
Well, the Wall Street Journal argues that invoking the 25th would lead to, quote, a chaotic power struggle. Congressman, what say you?
Well, it is true the cabinet and vice president are the only ones that have power to invoke the 25th Amendment. What I'd like to see, Stuart, is we know this doctor came in to test him for Parkinson's disease or perhaps treat him. I think, this is not some, average job. It's the President of the United States. I know there are privacy concerns, but I think it's important that we see the medical records here. And I think it's also imperative that a cognitive test be performed on the president, whether it's his White House doctor or maybe the director, Walter Reed. We need somebody to conduct a cognitive test to know what his mental state of mind is. He is the commander-in-chief, and the American people deserve to know this before we go into this election to make this very important decision.
Do you think that President Biden will be at the head of the ticket on November the 5th?
I don't think so. I think that performance was too devastating to recover from. And it's been a concern of people for quite some time, but it really came out in full force on that debate night. I have to tell you, Stuart, when I've been in the White House, that's the Joe Biden that I see. We saw a different Joe Biden at the State of the Union. I think he was on some sort of, medication that got him a little more, up, if you will. So we don't really know what's going on, though. And again, the American people and Congress deserve to know the truth about his mental faculties, his cognitive abilities.
Congressman Mike McCaul, thank you very much for joining us, sir. I'm sure we'll see you again soon. Thank you, sir. Still ahead.
Thanks for having me.